We are 6 days away from Bad Blood, and we got a heel turn, a last monster standing match, and the return of Seth freaking Rollins. Welcome everybody to my review of Monday Night Raw. To anyone that's new, welcome to the Wrestling with Eddie YouTube channel where we do Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, PLE predictions, and any other fun wrestling videos I feel like talking about. So make sure to subscribe, comment what you thought of Monday Night Raw this week, and give the video a thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And now let's talk about Monday Night Raw segment by segment. The show started with a recap of Jey Uso winning the Intercontinental Championship last week on Raw, and that brought out Jey Uso this week to celebrate. He had a great promo thanking the fans, talking about his family and everything it means to him to finally win a singles championship, and it was really emotional and a fun way to see Jey Uso a little bit out of character. Braun Breaker came out to shake his hand and congratulate him, teasing maybe he is not too much of a heel anymore and he's slowly turning good again, and setting up something that I really like about Braun Breaker later on the show. I will say it was really nice to see Braun not just directly attack Jey and just shake his hand and walk away, make him look like a really good character, and it feels like it keeps him strong even in defeat. This transitioned to a backstage segment where we had the Judgment Day hanging out outside near a car that Dirty Dom owns, but they weren't with Finn Balor. Apparently Finn Balor got stuck in traffic and couldn't make it to the show, but then he mentioned that he had taken care of business from a distance, so you'll see what that means very soon. Then we got into our first match of the night, which was Rey Mysterio versus Xavier Woods, which was set up from last week, still building that Xavier Woods slow heel turn, or whatever you want to call this anger side of him. And this was a fun little match, but the ending was really interesting. So at the end of the match, Xavier Woods accidentally removed Rey Mysterio's mask and took advantage of it and still rolled him up and got the pinfall win. This set up a backstage segment later where Kofi asked him, "Did you take the mask off on purpose?" And Xavier said, "No, of course not, but why are we talking about that instead of celebrating the fact that I won?" This set up as well that Kofi Kingston got Xavier Woods an Intercontinental Championship match next week against Jey. So we're getting Xavier versus Jey next week, which is really good. I'm still liking this Xavier Kofi dynamic and what they're doing here. The one thing I didn't like is that during the Kofi and Xavier backstage segment, Karrion Kross was just like in the background, just staring, hands in his pocket, and I'm like, I thought this was over. So again, Xavier Woods still looks like they're gonna try and connect that to Karrion Kross in some way, but I like it. I just, again, not the biggest fan of Karrion Kross in this case. Our second match of the night was Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark in a really good match. I feel like these two have great chemistry together, a lot of good spots, and Zoe got the win, which is what I've been saying PFC needed, more wins. After the match, PFC decided to continue attacking Zoe Stark, which brought out the return of Kaden and Katana Chance, who've been out for a long time. It looks like Katana had a broken nose from whatever happened to PFC. I don't know if this is a real thing or just like a in-character thing, but they finally came out, and later on they cut a promo, so it looks like we're setting up another 6-man, and I kind of really want Pure Fusion Collective to win this because they need more wins so that they can set themselves up to fight for the Women's Tag Team Championship in the future. Then we got the final promo for CM Punk and Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. We got both of them to come out, stare down, and this was great. This is the perfect way to set up the big finale for this Saturday. I'm so excited for this match. I really hope that this is the end, and they're obviously setting it up to be the grand finale of this feud, of this rivalry. And I honestly don't know who's going to win this, but I loved it. I thought this was a really good way to set it up. I like the tone that both Drew and Punk took here. I like both characters, what they said to the other guys. So really good stuff. Very excited for this matchup. Then we found out R-Truth is back, and he set up a tag team match between him and The Miz versus AOP for later on the show, and this had a fun little ending as well that we'll talk about in a second. Our next match was the Judgment Day versus LWO, and a good match, nothing really special here, and Finn Balor came out of nowhere and helped the Judgment Day get the win. So this whole being stuck in traffic thing seems like it wasn't true, and that the taking care of business was basically distracting the LWO to get the win over here. Then they started hugging each other, and we cut to commercial break, and commercials are normally 3 or 4 minutes long, and when we came back from the commercial break, they were still hugging. So I guess during this whole time, if they were there live, you just watched the Judgment Day hug for 5 minutes, and then that brought them into cutting their promo, all of them talking about their matches at this Saturday at Bad Blood. So Liv said some stuff, Dom said some stuff, Finn Balor said some stuff. Then Rhea Ripley came out, brought out the Shark shark cage, I think it's the shark cage, and talking about how Dom is scared of being in tight, closed places and that it's going to be really bad for him in there. Then Damian Priest showed up behind the Judgment Day and all hell broke loose. They all fought, but the Judgment Day did get the advantage at the end, taking them both out. Again, good way to make sure the heels have the advantage going into the PLE, and we'll see who wins on Saturday. Then we got a very quick backstage promo where Sheamus cut a promo about Butch, Pete Dunne, and setting up a match for next week between the two of them in a Donnybrook Brawl match, street fight. It's gonna be a fun little match. That'll be next week. Then we got Chad Gable versus Kofi Kingston in another fun match that had a very interesting end. So Xavier Woods was out during this match as well, and so was American Made, but the ending was really interesting. Chad Gable was running the ropes, and Xavier, thinking he would help Kofi, grabbed his leg and pulled on Chad Gable's leg to hopefully help Kofi win. But what ended up happening was Kofi was trying to hit the Trouble of Paradise, and because he grabbed the leg, he missed. He caused his partner to miss the move, which gave Chad Gable the win. So again, teasing little tension between the New Day, some miscommunication. Really liking this, and this was a fun match as well. Then we got two backstage segments. The first one was Damage Control calling out Bianca and Jade for a women's tag team match in the future. I think they set it up for next week or in 2 weeks. I missed when the match is happening, but I know they're setting that up. The second one was another Wyatt 6 backstage promo, vignette thing, whatever you want to call it. It ended with the reveal of somebody. Now, my first guess was Alexa Bliss, but the more I watched it, I'm like, that did not look like her. So if we have an idea of who it is, let me know in the comments. Then we had an excellent face-to-face between Gunther and Sami Zayn in the ring. Both of them cutting a great promo and finally setting up their matchup for next week on Raw for the world title. I'm super excited for this match. I'm a little disappointed it's not on Bad Blood, but it does make every Raw and SmackDown feel special, where every time there's something huge. Last week we got the Intercontinental Championship match. This week we had the Last Monster Standing, and next week we're getting a world title match. So again, even though the PLE is not feeling that premium, every show is being elevated, so I can't complain. Then we had another tag team match that, in my opinion, was kind of lame, but had another very interesting end to it, which was the Awesome Truth versus AOP. And in this match, The Miz turned on R-Truth, finally not taking any more of this silliness, stopping and walking away and letting R-Truth take the loss. Is this him setting up a Final Testament? I'm not too sure, but it's definitely him no longer being with R-Truth and going heel once again. Miz as a heel is way better than Miz as a face, so this is just excellent stuff. We should have seen this coming. I'm happy it happened. And again, it adds a little bit to Karrion Kross's character, I guess, but it adds a lot to the Miz character, which is way better. Now, before our main event, we had one last interview backstage, and this was an interesting one. Gunther was being asked about Sami Zayn, but before he can say anything, Braun Breaker showed up, and we had a face-off between Braun and Gunther, and right away I was like, oh yes, I want this match right away. Just a great setup for something that could happen in the future. So it looks like they're just pushing Braun Breaker right to the main event, and I'm not going to complain. If this is a face turn or slow face turn for Braun to maybe get him to win the Rumble and then get Gunther and Braun at WrestleMania, oh man, that would be excellent. I don't know what they're setting up, but I'm in. Then we got our main event, which was the Last Monster Standing match, which was the match of the night. To nobody's surprise, they did everything you would want from this match. They broke through the announcer's table. They jumped through in the crowd. Braun Breaker jumped on thousands of people. They broke through 2 barricades, hurting people in the crowd. And of course, they ended it with an exploding ring spot, which was a superplex off the top rope and the ring collapsing. Was it as good as the original times it happened? No, but it's always fun. The last time this happened was 13 years ago, so it doesn't feel super repetitive. It wasn't the best one, but I still love seeing it. And my favorite thing is seeing people who'd never seen it before react. I'm in a group chat with a lot of casual fans who weren't watching wrestling before, and they were losing their minds because this is their first time seeing a ring explode that way. So that made me feel really good to see. And then on top of all of that, we got the return of my favorite, Seth freaking Rollins came back to hit the curb stomp on Bronson Reed, helping Braun Strowman win. This does not make Bronson Reed look weak because it took Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins to take him out in a Last Monster Standing match, and it's setting up a great program for Bronson and Seth. I think that's a really good way to keep Seth busy until the WrestleMania time. Have him and Bronson go all the way to the Rumble, maybe. Good little feud between those two. And we'll see where it goes. And that's my review of Monday Night Raw for this week. A great show in my opinion. I want to give it about an 8.5, leaning really towards that 9. The problem were all the matches weren't that incredible. The last Monster Standing match was great, but the other 5 matches felt just a little off. But they all had great and interesting endings to each of those matches, and I feel like we got the perfect mix of really good story progression, finally getting advancements in the Sammy and Gunther rivalry. The last Monster Standing was the end of that rivalry. A heel turn for Miz, which is good progression for that, and the Karrion Cross stuff. Really like the New Day stuff, and I'm really enjoying this Braun Breaker's slow face turn. So lots of good stuff. I really can't complain. Again, I just wish all the matches were just a little bit better, but that's such a minor thing. So yeah, great episode. Definitely go check it out. This is one you need to watch. I don't think you can skip this episode because a lot of stuff happened that is going to set up a lot of future programs, and it really set up a great Bad Blood. I'm very excited. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe because our next one's going to be our Bad Blood prediction video, and then after that, we're going to be doing a Bad Blood review. I'm not going to do a SmackDown review this week because Bad Blood's happening. I'll just put it all together. So if anything interesting happens on SmackDown, I'll talk about it in my Bad Blood review. But thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your week. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.